In June of 1991, a body was discovered in a swamp in Ascension Parish. The victim had been shot, wrapped in a tarp, and left in a ditch. There was no identification, no missing persons match, and for more than 30 years, the case remained unsolved. Investigators used every tool available at the time, but nothing led to an identity.
I was handed the case probably August, September of 2025. The case has been what we deem a cold case. It's been maybe picked up a couple times over the years.
One detail stood out: an earring made from a human baby tooth.
When he was found, he was only found with a baby tooth earring in his ear. So that's why they nicknamed him Baby Tooth.
More than 30 years later, the case would be reopened by a deputy working in evidence who refused to let it go.
I'm currently going to find the baby tooth that was in his ear, and we're going to just look at it. In February of 24, I read a book about some civilians who actually solved a cold case and they identified someone.
What started as curiosity quickly became a mission.
So I brought the idea to Captain Adair, and he told me to write a proposal, bring it up to the command staff. They stood behind me firmly. Major Beeman, Colonel Capello, and the sheriff were totally on board, and they gave me all the resources that I needed.
Advancements in DNA technology gave investigators a new opportunity.
There's a DNA advancement that a lot of forensic scientists have been using called genetic genealogy. Specialists upload the John Doe's DNA. It can connect to the public's DNA, and they can go from there and build a family tree out. With genetic genealogy, it's gotten a lot higher chances of being solved, but 20 years ago, this wouldn't have been possible.
For decades, he was known only as Baby Tooth. Now, he has his name back. After 34 years, Baby Tooth was identified as Donald Leroy Spangler. He was a father, remembered as someone who loved his children and was full of life. The earring that gave him his nickname was his daughter's baby tooth. Identifying the victim was only part of the story.
The identification is just one side of a coin. The other side is the criminal investigation that follows. Trying to solve a homicide when you don't even know the victim's name is incredibly difficult. Now that we know who he is, we can start asking questions that we couldn't ask before. Reaching out to the family and letting them know that we have a possible identification on someone who's been missing from their life for the past 35 years. Definitely a rewarding experience from our end, just being able to provide that type of closure.
For a family that waited decades, answers replaced uncertainty.
Once they came to the realization of how serious we were and how sure we were, oh man, I can only imagine. Probably a weight off their shoulders, questions unanswered, because when you don't know, you assume the worst. One final answer, I'm sure, provides a lot of relief.
I have spent all of my life since this occurred, looking for him in some way, shape, or form. There's nothing like having a missing person for those many years. It affects the way you see the world. It affects the way you operate in the world and the things that you excel at. I'm finding peace in just having him laid to rest, having his name back, having his headstone with Don Spangler written down. And he's home. He's back where he belonged.
For investigators, the work does not stop with one case. Today, the investigation into Donald Leroy Spangler remains active.
The vast geographical spans of this case, from Texas to New Orleans to here, I think the more people that maybe knew Don or knew of Don from those areas that can learn about what we're doing might be able to provide information that we don't have.
After more than 3 decades, the search for answers is not over.